Sean Strickland's back at it again. Straight up, there is no better word to describe Sean Strickland than Nazi. The guy will not shut up for once in his life. Every chance he gets, he has to say something dumb and discriminatory because in his mind that makes him a real man, quote unquote real man. There is so many things that he has said, just in his career to the point where I can literally pull it up. Wait. Live on air, I'm going to pull up some of the stuff that he said, and I'm just going to transcribe it for you. Better yet, I shouldn't use the word trans. He might get mad at me. Oh, the trans. Ooh, they're trans and the kids. Sean Strickland's an old, out of touch, and I could go on forever on bad adjectives about him. But here, let's open up my scripts here, because I like to keep a little track of those, for videos I'm going to make. That's the wrong count. Hold it. Live on air. I need access to your mom. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. That's why I need access. Oh, wait. I went to the wrong thing. But while we're pulling this up, Sean Strickland has gone off again yesterday, and has decided to call Bad Bunny the F slur. Call him a foreigner, basically saying that he shouldn't be there because he doesn't speak English. Sean, give it 5 years and all them hits to the head are going to have you not speaking English. You're going to be... Actually, don't even give it 5 years. Give it you can give it now, actually. Talk like Tito Ortiz. But here we have some bigoted remarks from Sean Strickland. We have him calling people from China animals, quote unquote, savages, quote unquote, and the worst tourists in the world. He has a video out there of him going to a Popeyes saying that it was, quote, time to experience what a black man experiences, end quote. We have a tweet from him talking about having to stop himself from dropping the hard R in traffic. We have him saying that he'd feel like he failed as a father if his son turned out to like men. We have him dropping slurs. We have so many clips of slurs that I could just put in.
Fucking gay, dude.
He was crying because he feels hurt about a girl. I feel bad.
No, that's a fucking faggot right there, dude. Like, you're a gay. You're a fucking gay.
But bro, he's sad.
I don't know, dude. What's goofy?
Look, no, bro, don't say that. It's fucking insulting. It's not good word. It's like, what does it mean? So you know it. It's like
well, like
the G word. G word. It's like
we
insulting
got,
Korean.
Well, we got yellow belly. We got
don't say
chink. We got gook. We got slant eyes. Zipper head.
You fucking.
You know, the first girl I've ever dated was a Jew.
Okay.
Whoa, you're so cool for saying nigga.
No.
What?
Did you do that to him?
Do I look like Bryce Mitchell to you?
Bryce? Not.
You got some black in you.
But there's not the not.
Let me say,
Ancestrally.
Nina. Let me say, you get the nigga pass.
Sure.
Another quote from him talking about how being trans is a mental illness. That is a quote. And when an interviewer, Alexander Lee, asked him about these comments and said that he would be a proud father if his son liked men, unlike Sean, Sean proceeded to go off and call him a, quote, part of the problem. Now, that's not all. We have his discrimination against the LGBTQ community. We have his racism. Now we have his misogyny. He said that women should be taken out of the workforce and should not be allowed to vote. And then we have him complaining about women's MMA. And then they forced him to coach women's MMA as a part of his anger management training. Sean Strickland is a prime example on what unchecked speech does to someone. The UFC refuses to acknowledge any part in what he says. claiming that, oh, we support free speech, which allows him to spread this hateful rhetoric, giving people like him a place to fester. There is a difference between free speech and lack of consequences. There is no point that he should be sitting there saying these things and everybody should just turn the other way because, oh, well, free speech, free speech. Does free speech cover hate speech? Last time I checked, free speech don't cover hate crimes or hate speech. You know, you still get fired for those things. Like what? Dana White has fired a man for wearing a Speedo more than he's fired people for being Nazis. And like straight up, he uses the excuse of his father. Everybody uses the excuse, oh, well, he had a tough past growing up. He had a tough childhood. Who cares about that? Being straight up with you, who actually cares about your childhood? I don't care that your father beats you and your mother. You know, you have been alive for 34 years and you haven't once tried to get therapy for yourself. That is on you at this point. There is no reason why you should still be using that as a reason to why you use so many different, like, hateful remarks, discriminatory things. Your father beating you don't give you a pass for the rest of your life to make it everybody else's issue. You know? You have become, because they love to say that his upbringing, his grandfather led him to this ideology, leading to him committing a hate crime. You have become what your grandfather was, except on a whole new scale. You have normalized this hateful culture into the sport of MMA as a whole, turning a whole generation of fans into neo-Nazis just like you. If Dana White or Endeavor actually took a stand and did anything about this, we would not be sitting here talking about it. But all I see so far is a weak man who refuses to get therapy or actual help for his trauma, instead choosing to hide behind it as a reason as to why nobody could criticize him. And then my favorite part is that he loves to talk about real men, and he's one of those people that real men shouldn't show emotions, but you're over there sobbing like a baby the moment anybody brings up your father. Why? Why are you going to be a hypocrite for? You love to talk, real men this, real men that. Real men, nothing. There's nothing that constitutes what a quote-unquote real man is. That's just you hiding behind your weaknesses and your insecurities, you know? And the reason I talk about this is because Sean Strickland and people like Sean Strickland have done such a damage to this sport, you know? It's just insane to me that they allow people to do this much damage to the sport to the point where it's no longer about MMA. Look at it. I'll show you. Sean Strickland fights horribly. Is considered to be a top-ranked fighter in whatever weight class. I think he's middleweight. He's a top-ranked fighter. Colby Covington can't get out of those rankings despite having not fought for 2 years. You know? Like, they give so many opportunities to the discriminatory, to the bigots, to the Nazis, because they are discriminatory. That's just what they want, you know? Straight up, look at everything that Sean Strickland has done, and just see how nobody says anything to him. The UFC don't say nothing. They don't do anything about it because, well, why should we? It's free speech. Like, bro, how many times can you hide behind that excuse before you start to realize that you have failed as a company and that you are going to kill off your own industry with this guy? Because, look, now Paramount's facing some backlash. Basically, they're being told by media and stuff that they need to get the UFC off their programming or that Sean Strickland needs to be fired. You have put your own brand deal into risk because you want to promote Sean Strickland. Because, he tells it like it is. What's he telling like it is? What is he telling like it is? Because the guy's not telling diddly squat like it is. All he's doing is sitting there hating on people who already got so many things to deal with already. Like, straight up, the guy never punches up. He never punches up. He never punches straight forward. He's always punching down. You know, the only thing that he loves to do is to attack communities of people who have their own issues to deal with. You know, it's always attacking minorities and groups like that have their own issues. Like, look, dude, trans people got their own issues. You know, unfortunately, trans people got to deal with so much hate and discrimination for no reason, you know, and now they got to deal with you pushing that on a big platform. You know, that's just one example. There's so many of these things, you know. Sean Strickland is a pathetic excuse for a human being and a waste of space. And honestly, if the UFC crumbles tomorrow because of him, I could not care less. And I'm recording this video before his fight on UFC Fight Night. So only God knows what he's going to say after that fight, you know, and what the clip is going to be there that he decides he wants to say. Because, I should be allowed to use my free speech. Like, again, there's free speech and there's freedom of consequences, you know? Free speech doesn't work if free speech basically tells you, well, I can say whatever I want, and when you say what you want, well, I'm going to have an issue with it. I'm going to whine and complain. But you can't complain about what I say, you know? Freedom of speech works both ways. It doesn't just work one way. Like, I'm straight up, like, sick and tired of having to hear Sean Strickland out there, because even when you don't watch the UFC, you still get his stuff, you know, you still get, oh, Sean Strickland delivered a promo, and, oh, yeah, it's just as racist as possible. Like, dude, I have not gone into one thing. I've never gone into one, like, UFC event with Sean Strickland where I'm sitting there going, oh, well, maybe this time he won't. No, it's never, oh, maybe this time he won't say something dumb. No, it's always, yep, he's going to do it again, because that's all he does, because he's not interesting otherwise, and he's only interesting when he does racist stuff, when he does, like, bigoted stuff to other bigots who want somebody like that to represent them. You are basically, you are irrelevant. You know, you are fully, wholly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. You are a speck of dust in people's minds because they don't care about you. The only time people care about you is when bigots come out to defend you because they love to say the same stuff too, you know? And that brings me back to my other issue with this. They've ruined the sport of UFC with this. Like, you know, I point to Sean Strickland, I point to Colby Covington, you know, like, they're still pushing Bryce Mitchell like he's going to be something big. They got Josh Hockett up on heavyweight despite him stinking up the joint. Like, all of them are bad fighters. They're horrible fighters, and they get so many opportunities, and they get the machine behind them. And that is something that bugs me as well, is the fact that we are pushing mediocrity when you have fired people for less. You know, you have straight up fired a guy for wearing a Speedo out there, yet you keep Sean Strickland and all these ones because, oh, well, you know, they bring in views. No human being should want views from racists. That, like, bro, if you want views from racists, I'm going to call it like it is. You're a racist. You know, if you want views from people who are discriminatory against the LGBTQ community, you're discriminatory towards them as well. You know, it is not something that you can go and say, oh, well, you know, we just want their views. We don't actually agree with it, because if you didn't actually agree with it, you wouldn't be wanting it. You know, like, straight up. Let's take, like, Nazis for an example. If you're not a Nazi, you're not going to want a Nazi's view on your video. You're not going to go, yes, I want Nazis to watch my video, because you realize that that is not a good group of people to have watching your video. But if you like Nazis, you're going to say to people, oh, well, you know, well, I'm just doing, I just want their views. You know, I don't agree with them. If you didn't agree with them, you would not you would not push your content towards them, you know? I think that that is something that a lot of people need to put more pressure on the UFC for, because they love to flip-flop, you know, and claim that they're just free speech, you know, absolutists, I guess. But at the end of the day, all their free speech actually does is harm people, you know? It's not free speech at that point, you know, because then you could start defending everything as free speech. Like, there are people out there that'll defend, like, people walking around throwing up Nazi salutes and go, oh, well, you know, well, that's freedom of speech, you know, that's what America's got. It's got freedom of speech. Yeah, that's not freedom of speech. That is promoting hate. That is promoting violence. You know, that should not be a thing that we should be doing in society. Same with this. You know, we should not be promoting hate and promoting that people should go commit hate crimes, you know, against people because you dislike that they are different than you. Honestly, like, straight up in this day and age, there is so many, like, in the big 2026, there is so many better things that we could be focusing on as a society. There is, like, so many better things. There are people dying, you know, out there because the federal government's killing them. And Sean Strickland would rather use that as a funny haha joke because, oh, you know, it's funny. It's funny to do this. You know, hey, look, I walked in wearing an ice hat. Sean Strickland would rather do that than he would actually use his platform for good. And I say that about Sean Strickland now, but I say that about everybody. There is better things to focus on than ruining people's lives who already have it hard, you know? That is something that I hate. That is something that I will always hate. That is something that I will always be against, you know, is discrimination as a whole and just pushing discrimination as much as possible. You know, I hate it. I hate it as much as possible. But yeah, I just wanted to turn on the microphone, post a nice, like, unedited video here. Just a little, it's a mini podcast, let's call it. Let's call it a mini podcast where I just want to talk about some random things. So, with that being said, hopefully y'all agree with me. And if you do, leave a like, you know, subscribe for more. Comment what your take on this is. You know, just leave a comment and talk about this garbage. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.